Hi, everyone. It's Darlene Corbett, the Unstuck expert. As I said yesterday, I know I'm sharing this with other people. Many people try to help people get unstuck. But I've been doing it for a very, very long time. And I'm really glad that people are out there helping people get unstuck because there's not enough of us to do that. So if someone has a much broader, should I say, they're on a grander scale on the world stage, good for them to get that message out. And we all have a unique way of doing it. We don't do it the same way because we're not the same. That's the beauty of being the unique you. You can have the same message, but the messenger is different, just like the singer, not the song. I've said that many times. But anyway, today I want to talk about this theme of becoming unstuck. And one of the ways is through learning. What does learning do? Well, learning helps open your mind. I really believe that. But you have to also be open minded to learn when you get to a certain age. Many people say, oh, here we go again. I'm going to say it again. I sound like a broken record, but I'm too old. It's too late. It's never too late to learn something new. It may not be easy. It may not be quick, but it can distract you. It can get you out of being stuck, feeling like you're in this mud and you can't move, or should I say cement. You just can't move. Learning can help you do that. I have decided to take up Spanish. It's not easy. It's interesting. We learn to speak before we learn to read and write. But I'm doing this with Babbel. It's very good. It's got a few flaws, but it's good. And I don't do it every day. I really should because I really enjoy it. But I thought it would be easier to speak it versus seeing the words. I realize, and maybe it's the way the brain works, that I recognize the words, but to speak it randomly is not so easy, to just say it off the top of my head. So I can see it, I can read it easier, I can understand more what I'm reading versus developing an understanding of listening so easily. It's not easy to hear. So I'm sure if I continue on this more regularly, I will, get better at it. I think obviously learning a language at my age is not easy to do, especially when you're not even multilingual or bilingual, should I say. I know that bilingual people have a much easier time becoming trilingual and multilingual. I hope I can become bilingual, maybe never fluently, but at least enough that I feel good about an accomplishment of learning another language. And I love it. It's fun to learn. It's challenging, but it's fun. But it would be less challenging if I did it more often. I get those conjugations wrong a little bit, so it's uh, it's. I just have to go back and keep doing it. But I want to remind people the importance of learning. I see all kinds of people, many professionals in all kinds of professions. Some of the professions are teachers, and they tell me about what's going on in the school system, even before the pandemic, worse since the pandemic, and it saddens me that so many young people really don't care if they learn or they don't understand the benefit of learning, especially the benefit of reading. People are caught up in their iPhones and iPads and other smartphone devices. I happen to have an iPhone and iPad. That's why I refer to it that way. And they haven't developed or captured the joy of reading, getting immersed or engrossed in a good book that transports you. I read a lot of nonfiction these days, but there's nothing like fiction. Fiction is my favorite. I've learned to love nonfiction because I like to learn what's going on in the world and hearing different people's opinions. But I love fiction. It is my favorite. It has transported me for years and years and years. And I continue to read. And I don't read great literary works. We've had to. And I've enjoyed some of them. Some of them I could do without. I read Billy Budd. I did not like Herman Melville's writing. Apparently, a lot of people that have read Moby Dick find him equally challenging. But I read, I like The Scarlet Letter. I remember reading that. I read, what's the book on South Africa? Cry the Beloved Country of Human Bondage. There's many books. I didn't read the To Kill a Mockingbird, but I saw the movie. Very, very good lesson. Great Gatsby. I've read. So, I mean, there's some classics I've read, and I'm open to reading more. But I just love to read. And I do believe you can learn from most books of fiction, even a book like, I know you're going to probably say you're kidding, but I'm not kidding. Danielle Steele. She used to write about San Francisco long before I visited it. And you get a flavor of what it's like. Now, are these characters really developed? No, but it doesn't have to be. It can be fun. And you can learn about something new. You can learn about, all kinds of hobbies, depending on who the fiction writer is, the author. I love to read, and I really encourage parents. And please don't say, well, I don't have time, or, I'm too tired. I bet you are. I don't doubt that. But I come from a family where I had hardworking parents. If they had the time to read to me, or at least encourage me to read, and bought me books or went to the library. And I just fell in love with reading. I read Little Woman's one of my favorite books, and there were parts of it I didn't like, I remember, but I read it over and over. It was a fabulous book, Louisa May Alcott. I was hoping it was true. I think it was based on her family, but it was not true. But there's so many books. There's just so many. Then I read other books, but what really captured me, I think I may have talked about this, but I'm repeating myself, is when I was about 13, my mother and father gave me a book, Corbett Island. Corbett is my last name. It's my maiden name. I use it professionally, but I have a hyphenate name, actually. Corbett Island, Trixie Belden, and that was it. I bought the series of Trixie Belden. Then I moved on to Nancy Drew, then Victoria Holt, and her pseudonym, Philippa Carr. Philippa Carr, there's a lot of history. She talks about the era of Henry VIII and Sir Thomas More. So you get a lot of history from some of these books. I moved on to Taylor Caldwell, who wrote beautiful books. If you're a boomer, you will remember The Captains and the Kings. I didn't read that book, but I read some of her others. Ceremony of the Innocent, although the man married a really young woman, but we'll leave it at that. But also the one about ancient Greece, as well as, there were a few others. But I love reading. I highly encourage parents to embody that in their children. Even if you don't like to read yourselves, they will develop that tool, that desire eventually. I know some people have learning disabilities, but if they can't read as well, have somebody read to them. And also now we have Audible. I prefer the written word, reading it visually, but I also listen because I can't read everything. I can't listen to everything either. But learning can help us get unstuck, even if it's temporary. It transports us. It takes us to another place, another time. It's the most rewarding escapism you can have. I think I may have shared this in an article, but I once read 2 books within a weekend. We didn't have a lot of money, as I said. My mother bought me these 2 Nancy Drew books. I think I was 14. One was The Clue and the Tapping Heels. The other was The Quest of the Missing Map. I started one Saturday, and I finished both by Sunday. The Clue of the Tapping Heels was good, but The Quest of the Missing Map, I never forgot it. It was fabulous. I'm sure I might think differently now, but it was a lot of fun. I still think of these books that were read to me, books I read. I learned about the St. Therese from hearing our teacher, Miss Joyce, read to us. So parents, read to your children. And if you don't have time, bring them to the library. Let someone else read to them. Adults, don't give up. Try to find something. If you don't like to read a long time and your concentration's broken, there's something out there for everyone. And if you're better at listening, listen. It can help you become unstuck. And not only that, it can reset your mindset and begin to use the workshop of the imagination, as the great Napoleon Hill refers to. The imagination is the workshop. You don't know where reading can bring you. And sow a seed and let an idea form and watch what happens. All right, everyone. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. I am the teacher, as well as you can see the student. I will continue to love learning until it's the end. To learn more about me, you can go to DarleneCorbett.com. And here's my book, Stop Depriving the World of You, just in case you forgot that I wrote a book.